It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantatrax TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine. Indeed, we're back once again with your weekly recap of all the Star Wars news, courtesy of Fantatrax.com. And it's a busy week, so let's get stuck straight into what we're going to be talking about. First up, we're going to be talking John Williams on his musical future. Andor has been nominated at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. The Mandalorian released its Season 3 latest trailer, and lots of more information this week. We'll be discussing that. Galaxies of Creatures is back for a second season. Marvel have released their solicitations for April, loads of new comics to discuss there. Lucasfilm's Willow has got a Behind the Magic documentary coming to Disney Plus on the 25th of January. We'll be looking forward to that. And last but not least, coming up soon is Star Wars Fan Fun Day 2023, and the guests have started to be announced. And we'll be talking all about that. And joining me to discuss that and a whole lot more from Fantatrax.com, Mr. Carl Bayliss. Hi, Carl.
Hello.
How are you doing?
How's it going?
Really good, thanks. Really good. First time back for yourself on the show for 2023, so
yes.
Welcome back to the show. I hope you had a good holiday season and Santa was nice to you.
Yes.
Are you all set for a busy Star Wars filled year? We've got Celebration coming to the UK this year, of course.
Yeah. In fact, we've just been recording the latest episode of Desert Planet Discs, which should be out on Friday. And Greg and I were looking forward to all the Star Wars goodness we've got. So there's shows coming on Disney Plus, obviously Celebration, events that are happening around Celebration, and just loads and loads of Star Wars stuff. Other events. So coming up in a couple of weeks' time is Echo Live. You've got Star Wars Fan Fun Day, as you mentioned in the opening there. So loads to be doing, even if you're not going to Celebration. And in between that, I've also got the shoehorning a load of gigs as well with various bands. So I've got a couple of dates in Ireland at the beginning of March.
Evening, Mr. Newbolt, in the chat.
Evening, boss. And shows in Brighton, Kidderminster, Stourbridge, London. Yeah, all over the place. Busy few months, and as you say, that's before you start putting all the planning into Celebration and what we may or may not be doing there.
Yeah, and of course, Desert Planet Discs you can find on Fantatrax Radio. Go to your podcaster of choice, type in Fantatrax Radio, you will find that along with all the other shows. And so clearly, no time for you to retire. this coming year. And another guy
Nope.
who's no longer looking like he's going to retire, Mr. John Williams, kind of hinted last year that he was kind of retiring, him and Harrison. But I noticed Harrison Ford's just signed up for a new TV show on Apple Plus, and John Williams kind of dropping a comment that he's going to be sticking around for a while yet.
Yep, superb news. I'm massive fan of John Williams, not only his Star Wars work, but just his film work in general. He's everybody knows he's just an utter genius. His output has been consistent over the years, and long may it continue. Obviously, he's no spring chicken, and sooner or later, you kind of think, well, yeah, he is going to have to take a step back, but as long as he's got the desire and the motivation to be still composing, even if he's not conducting necessarily, the ideas are there, and as long as he's still having those ideas, then great. You get. I think he said when he was doing some of the sequel soundtracks, he's got like a minion now who actually does a lot of the notation for him, and he sort of just scribbles down little bits and plays little bits on the piano and go, oh look, like Ray's theme, and then somebody else actually does a lot of the legwork, as it were. So yeah, as long as he's happy to be doing it and he's still able, brilliant.
Yeah, and I kind of think it's kind of worked well, I think, as well, in terms of having him, like on the Obi-Wan series, doing the main theme and then letting someone else do the rest of it. And I can see that maybe being a pathway forward to him, so he's not got the heavy load of maybe cutting an entire movie, but he's maybe going to do the main theme of a movie and so on, and contribute into the rest of it,
Yeah, and I think as well, if you were a Nicholas Britell or Michael Giacchino, Natalie Holt, the opportunity to work alongside, or have the quite literally have the baton handed to you by John Williams, would be mind blowing. So to be able to, not necessarily work side by side with him, but as you say, if he's composed a main theme like Benny's theme, as he affectionately refers to it, then it would be brilliant. And I know even in Obi-Wan, you got some of the classic themes worked into some of the newer stuff, little motifs and things like that. So, oh look, here comes Darth Vader, a little bit of Vader's theme underpinning a new piece of music. So, you're always, as long as you're talking about those existing characters, again, there's, if you get into maybe some, Darth Maul type stories, if Solo 2, or they do a Solo TV series or something around Crimson Dawn, there's an opportunity to, reprise some of the Maul type themes, maybe not necessarily Duel of Fates, but, some of those sort of things. So, brilliant. Yeah. More power to him.
Definitely. One show he didn't work on, but a show that's still picking up the award nominations is Andor. It's picked up 2 nominations from the Screen Actors Guild. First for Outstanding Performance by a Stunt Ensemble, and also a nomination in the Norman Felton Award for Outstanding Producers for the Executive Producer Team, which includes Kathleen Kennedy, Tony Gilroy, Diego Luna, Michelle Rejuan, and I'm going to apologise, but I think it's Sani Woldenberg. I'm sure I murdered that name. But yeah, 2 well-earned award nominations there for Andor, which has been maybe one of the, I don't know if it's a surprise hit, but maybe unexpected to have been so universally well received, I think, in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been the long-standing, issue, if you like, that Star Wars has never really got awards other than for sound or John Williams for music, some of the technical elements, but never really for story or really. But this seems to have jumped that and has been regarded by fans and critics as great storytelling and but still great production values. For me, television wise, it's probably about the best produced. You couldn't really, I don't think, tell any large use of the volume or anything that looked overly CGI'd. There was a lot of practical locations. We know about the sets in Scotland, the Cleveleys, the village they built in that disused quarry, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Sort of in the south of England. So a lot of practical sets in there, and again, as a fan, I'm really pleased that it's getting that recognition, and hopefully, we already know they've planned out the story arc for the second series, and hopefully that that brings it to a conclusion, and they don't try and water down the second series and eke in a third series on the basis that, well, if we've got another series in it, we can we can sort of sell a few more subscriptions.
Yeah. Talking about a third series, next news items: The Mandalorian, who has reached its third series.
Yep.
And it's going to be returning at Disney Plus on March 1st. And we got a new poster this past week, which is featuring the Mandalorian and little Grogu. And on top of the poster, we also got an official trailer, which I think we can throw up on the screen whilst we're talking about it. I'm sure you checked the trailer out this past week. What's your thoughts?
Oh, just once or twice, or 15, 20 times. Yeah. I mean, we know what we're kind of getting with Mando now. It's bedded in. Surprisingly, I have seen a few comments from people who've seen this trailer saying, "Oh, so Grogu's back somehow." You're like, okay,
that is that is something I think they're going to have to explain in the show, because there's going to be a lot of people who aren't hardcore Star Wars fans, didn't watch Boba Fett, so they're going to have to explain it at least with a throwaway comment, at least, I think. Yeah.
So, I mean, as Mark says there, we don't really get a lot of plot points that we didn't already know. Looks like he's going back to Mandalore. Nice shot there of the Jedi, some TIE interceptors, which is one of my favourite TIE fighters. So nice to see those again. Droid bar.
Yeah, wasn't happy.
That's where Brian will be hanging out at Celebration. And smug-looking Baby Yoda as he throws this creature out. Yeah, look at that, smug as anything.
Evil little Grogu.
Yeah, his descent to the dark side.
Yeah, so that's going to be with us very soon, because March 1st isn't that far away. We're almost at the end of the month.
Yeah.
If you're in the UK, get your taxes filed, people.
Yeah.
You've got to the 31st. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Put someone in the bacta tank so they can do a flashback. I think that's potentially what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to it. Trailer didn't tell us much about what the story's going to be, but we kind of know that he's going to be heading back to Mandalore to try and reclaim his position in the in the group after having been found guilty of exposing himself.
I know, terrible. Taking your hat off.
Yeah,
but looks and again, the costuming groups will be extremely pleased that you've got such a variety of Mandalorian armor, colors, and combinations in there. So notice there's a couple of the different sort of helmet designs. You know, some of the owl type ones like Bo-Katan style helmets, and more sort of regular Fett Mando style. So be interesting to see. You know, is he sort of putting the band back together, as it were? You know, trying to go around and get all the different sects that are scattered across the galaxy, because he says something. You know, our people are scattered across the galaxy like stars. Also interesting, Mark talking about flashbacks there. Presume we're getting some from that footage. We're getting some more footage of the Order 66 events.
We'll get to see a third perspective, I guess. We've already seen two perspectives, so we're going to see a third one. And we've also got the names of the directors that are going to bring us that, because 6 of the directors from that coming series have all been named. Some of the names we're going to be familiar with there, some new, which is always good, because I like to see a series stay fresh people, fresh ideas, and I think everyone who's coming back as well has sort of earned their stripes as well to get another shot at bringing the Mandalorian. And although I will counter off what I'm saying by saying that the whole series should flow together, so it shouldn't be hugely apparent that there's a different director on each episode. I always find that kind of an important caveat to when they bring in different directors, especially ones who are pretty much known for a particular type of work.
Yeah, I think this comes back to one of the things that I've always said has been like my bugbear with the sequel trilogy, and the reason that the previous 2 trilogies worked better is, you look at the original trilogy, it was 3 different directors. Yes, tonally the films felt different from each other, but because you've got the overarching story already written, you know, it's just about how you bring those visuals to the screen. And you've got that with Mando. We've seen it in the previous seasons. Yes, when you've kind of got Adventure of the Week, which seems to be cropping up more and more in various Star Wars properties now. I heard that used to describe Bad Batch this week. You know, it's off on Adventure of the Week. You know, it's a little bit like the Incredible Hulk. Then you've got an overarching story, but it's like, oh, what's this? You know, this week's, what are the A-Team up to this week, kind of thing. And those, you know, different directors will bring different things out. I'm so pleased that Bryce Dallas Howard is still involved and has come back to do more. However, I'm really annoyed that she hasn't been given a film yet.
Yeah.
Because that's the natural progression, or a whole series of something to direct herself. You know, that was kind of the Deborah Chow route into the Obi-Wan series. And for me, you know, having these different directors is one way of almost sort of trialing out how they work within the environment without committing a whole project before they're necessarily, I won't say ready, but, you know,
it's a case of being able to figure out whether you can work together well, because Lucasfilm certainly seem to have that problem when it comes to feature films, as to, do they trust the director, how much they trust the director.
Yeah.
In some occasions, too much, on some occasions too little.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good way, and I would love to see her take on her own show. Mr. Newbold also mentioned on Bad Batch. I've completely ignored Bad Batch from this week's show because animation is not my thing. But yeah, it's a side mission for Bad Batch this week for sure. So he's agreeing with you there.
Yeah.
Although I'd say I'm skipping ammunition. The next news story is actually animation. Ammunition? Animation. Galaxies of Creatures is back for season 2. The first 2 episodes have already dropped. As well, they're going to continue to feature Ari's charm and unending curiosity while showcasing creatures seen throughout Star Wars storytelling. Obviously, a show that's aimed at the little kids, and lets them create little
and big kids.
Let them create little cuddly little toys to sell in the shops as well. So yeah, it's cute, little fun 2-minute kind of animation things. It does no harm to anyone, I think.
No, and they do look really. I think I saw some from the first series, like plushy toys at Anaheim.
Yeah,
Celebration in Anaheim. But I haven't seen any really sort of hit the shelves of any of our illustrious retailers. Certainly over here.
It doesn't seem to be something that's spread in general retail.
No.
I don't know if it's a Shop Disney exclusive, perhaps.
Yeah, but I know perhaps they're still reeling because they kind of got stung a little bit on the was it Forces of Destiny?
Yeah,
the other animated show, and they got all the and I know some collectors will crucify me for this, but they got the sort of slightly Barbie-fied figures, dolls, that they released for that, and I know a load of those ended up in your regular sort of, your bargain basements, your entertainers for a couple. In fact, I think I managed to pick up a Gin Urso for £2.
Yeah.
When they're on deep discount by that point. There was a couple of them that were really hard to get hold of. The Ahsoka and the Sabine, I think, went fairly quickly and still command quite a high price. But there was a few of them that were definitely bargain fodder.
Something you can pre-order and avoid all that is this month's, or April's comics, in fact, just announced from Marvel. We're going to have a new series in Star Wars Darth Vader, Black, White and Red. Issue 1, High Republic continues, Hidden Empire comes to a close, Yoda continues, Sanus Staros continues. We're going to have Return of the Jedi, the Murdering Little Bears, issue 1.
Murder Bears.
Murder Bears. Bounty Hunters, Afra, Star Wars and Vader all continue as well. And we can check out some of the issues. This is a new one, Black, White and Red, which is kind of a play on the Black, White and Red series produced by Marvel Comics for the likes of, I think it's Hawkeye and Moon Knight. And we've got some lovely art there to go with it. And it also marks the return of Jason Aaron for the first time in a long time, since a good few years anyway, to write in Star Wars. So I know a lot of people will be picking that up, and I imagine there'll be a lot of variants to pick up on that as well. High Republic, I don't know if you're really into the High Republic at all, Carl, but this is the second series of the High Republic, second volume, this one from Cavan Scott, and it continues with issue 8 in April.
Yeah, High Republic's something I've kind of sidestepped at the moment, with that much else going on. Do definitely want to try and get into it, because one of the shows I'm really looking forward to is Acolyte, which is supposed to be set around that sort of time frame and that sort of period. So
yeah. So Acolyte's going to be right at the very tail end of the High Republic.
Yeah.
And there was an interesting article, you'll find up on fathertracks.com this evening. Daisy Ridley commented that she was sat next to a Lucasfilm executive at a recent award show, and the Lucasfilm executive was raving about how good the Acolyte was. And Daisy Ridley recounted that to Variety, so expectations running high, certainly within the walls of Lucasfilm on that series. Next up, Hidden Empire comes to a conclusion with issue 5. That's the end of Charles Soule's sort of connected trilogy, centered around Kira and her Crimson Group as well. Great cover there with Kira, Vader, and the Emperor. And so that'll be the conclusion. That feels like a comic series started a long time ago with War of the Bounty Hunters, which had close to, I think, 50 variants for its first issue. Yeah, and I got them all. Sad. Star Wars Yoda continues from Jodie Hauser, art from Luke Ross. And this, I think, is a variant cover from Lee Garbett I've got up on the screen there. And that series continues. And another series that also continues, Sarah Stanos, very popular character, breaking out of the Star Wars and Afra ongoing series. Justina Ireland continues the writing on that, along with Perry Perez on art. And then the aforementioned Murder Bears. They try and con us with this picture of a cuddy little bear with a cookie. We know better.
Oh,
they're cannibals.
And it's next to a My Little Pony. What's cuter than that?
Yeah. I know. Murder Bears. That's what it should be called.
Yeah.
Also, the reason I hate Ewoks so much, they worship droids.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. And as I always say, how have they got a dress the same size or that would fit Leia unless they've eaten somebody her size previously?
That's a very good point. We'll maybe find out. Elisa Wong is on writing duties on that one. If you want to hear more from Elisa, you can check out an interview that Mark and Matt did on Phantom Tracks TV on YouTube with Elisa at New York Comic Con back in October. Yeah, Mark saying a droid. I know. Why would you worship a droid? What kind of society have they created in the Ewoks? And if you see one of these little murder bears at Star Wars Celebration, just give them a kick. Bounty Hunters continues, a very odd old style cover for Bounty Hunters. Ethan Sachs on writing duties again, interviewed at New York Comic Con by Mark and Matt. You find that video on Fat Tracks TV. Mark chiming in there saying Elisa was awesome. You better repeat that about Ethan Sachs as well, just so we don't show favoritism.
Yes.
But talking to Elisa, she's also on Dr. Afra writing duties as well.
Yay!
And Afra's doing great stuff at the moment. And this is the kind of character that I can see breaking out of comics as an original character into a TV series. It just makes sense to me.
Really, 100% behind that. Afra has been the comic that I didn't really get the early issues, the Vader comics and stuff like that, but sort of was aware of her being in those and the sort of storylines that were coming out of that. But when they started it up as a separate comic, I got that straight off. And thanks to Mr. Booker, I am still subscribed and loving it. It's a brilliant character, and like you say, I think it's possibly one of those that could break out from the comic and be a Disney Plus series or even a movie.
Mark commenting there in the chat as well, he's chiming in, and along with her supporting cast, it's very true. Sarah Staros often appears in Afra. It's obviously got her own comic series as well. Another character that could jump over to TV quite easy. And of course, Sarah Starro started off in the Star Wars ongoing comic as the wife of Han Solo, of all things. And Chara Soule continues on writing duties there, doing double duty with that in Hidden Empire. And another quality series. I think the one thing that you're always going to have trouble with a Star Wars ongoing is with the main characters is the element of peril, because we know where these characters eventually end up.
Yeah.
But I think Charles Soule's pulled together a very good story. And talking of very good stories, we come to the last comic of the month when I think Darth Vader's doing tremendous stuff with its connections to the Phantom Menace and the Attack of the Clones characters, and especially around Sabe and the other handmaidens and their connection with Vader, and Greg Pak on writing duties there. And that is April's comics, so there's lots to look forward to. And May will get interesting as well, because we're into celebration territory. Will we get some Star Wars London celebration exclusives? We did last time round. So interesting to see if that happens again in April. If you could get a comic series with a celebration exclusive, what would it be, Carl?
Got to be Afra all the way.
Yeah, we'll go for that.
And the exclusive is a DVD of the trailer for the live action series.
You never know; it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah. No, I was saying in the last full episode of Desert Planet Discs, I've largely stopped collecting sort of Black Series, and not that I was a massive collector in the first place, but the comic variant Afra that they announced is that's I have an Afra focus, but not on all the characters from Afra, just Dr. Afra.
And I'm going to ask a question here. In terms of Black Series, did the fact that it's now enclosed packaging factor into your decision making?
No, because I actually stopped really buying them in any sort of great numbers ahead of Celebration this year, or last year rather. No, yeah, what year is it? It was partially out of the fact that the prices were starting to spiral anyway. Even sort of 12 months ago, and it was a case of I can buy 4 lovely figures, or I can eat while I'm at Celebration. So yeah, bit of a no-brainer. So that said, my laptop that is currently elevated from the desk is currently sitting on the box for an artillery stormtrooper helmet, which I was lucky enough to snag one of for the bargain price of £45 from Game. So that's doing the rounds on all the collecting groups at the moment, with people desperately trying to snag those. Obviously Hasbro having a bit of a clear out, and Game seem to have picked up lots and lots and lots and lots of figures. These artillery stormtrooper helmets, lots of Black Series, and seem to be knocking them out at very, very reasonable prices. But by and large, either stormtroopers, and I've got a few. I'm just looking up at the collection wall here because I've only got a few of them out here. I've got like the Empire 40th Silver Stormtrooper, a regular Stormtrooper, and I know somewhere in a box, somewhere in the office, I've got a few other regular Stormtroopers. But other than that, Dr. Afra, I've got a black series and the vintage collection one, and then they say on order the comic book package variant.
A series from Lucasfilm not getting much attention in terms of merchandise has been Willow, but nevertheless, Willow is still getting a little bit of a push. I've actually seen more promotion for it since the series ended, and Disney promoting the fact that the whole series is now available.
Yeah.
And they've also announced that there's a making of Willow Behind the Magic documentary going to hit Disney Plus on January 25th, so this Wednesday. And there's a trailer we can run whilst we talk about it. I have thoroughly enjoyed Willow, more so than I should have, for numerous reasons, for the cheesiness of it, for the music, for some of the awful lines, which make me think it's like a George Lucas script, and the fact that they've actually pushed the envelope a little bit and tried to do something different, new and unique, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I don't know if you've had a chance to check much of it out at all.
Yeah, I was trying. I watched the first couple of episodes, and then as you say, there were little bits of it that were a little bit cheesy, but I really started to enjoy it. And as you say, some of the comic lines were very George, and it was a fun little series. Now, I probably saw Willow back in the day, although because I sort of know the characters, know the sort of general setup of it all, but I couldn't have told you, oh, this is how the story went. It's one of those things I saw at the time, and other than that, I haven't really sort of been deeply invested in it, but really enjoyed this series. And from the looks of the end credits, the infamous post-credit scene, or mid-credit scene, looks like we're going to get at least another 2 series.
Well, I think we can at least say that that's what the creators of the show would like.
Yeah.
Whether they're going to get what they want. I think it deserves another season. I don't know what it's doing in ratings. But if you go on something like Rotten Tomato, the critic opinion on it is through the roof, like into the high 90s. Fan opinion maybe not so as high. Neither the 50-60%, I think the last time I looked.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's won the audience to earn a second series. It's certainly for me in terms of what they produced, if it's low budget fun, which I think it is.
Again, there seem to be a lot of practical locations in there, as we just saw in that behind the scenes. Obviously, once we get to see that on Wednesday, we'll have a much better appreciation of just how much, obviously the bit where they're in that underground mine run by the trolls. There's obviously a hell of a lot of CGI going on in there, and the fact that you got the magic and things like that, but there seems to be a lot of practical effects going on in there, like we saw there. The trolls. We know our old mate Details was one of the trolls, and there's several of the Crone's sort of heavies were known creature performers that have also done stuff in Star Wars and things like that. So clearly a lot of practical stuff going on. So yeah, hopefully it is the kind of thing. We know a lot of it was shot in Wales.
Yeah.
So hopefully it is the sort of thing that at the end of the day, Disney have got to keep content coming to Disney Plus, otherwise subscribers are just going to leave. You
I
know.
think the biggest problem they've got, and especially with Bob Iger coming in, that Disney Plus now starts to have to break even at the bare minimum, start making a profit.
Mm.
I think the shareholders are beginning to question what's going on with it, because they used to make a lot of money from selling their content all around the world, and at the moment they're losing a lot of money. Will that mean that the budget for creating new product on Disney Plus will be cut back, because it's been a heavy budget at the moment? Will it mean the price goes up, or will it mean that Disney are going to go and try and buy assets from another company, for example WWE, who are looking to make a sale at the moment? And does that kind of content become another icon on the Disney Plus homepage?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you have to look at what's going on with Disney Plus around the world, and Hotstar and India is a huge thing for them, and they're going to lose the cricket off that service, which is absolutely huge in India, which means they're going to lose a lot of subscribers out there. And there's all these tricky things going on, and I think there's going to be a lot
yeah,
of pressure on Disney Plus in the coming 18 months.
yeah. One of the things that surprised me is that, like, you haven't had, and if Bob is watching, hi Bob, here's an idea for you. Why they haven't, like, keyed in ESPN?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't
there's
understand the splitting of the various things. They've got ESPN Plus in America.
yeah,
Why separate these things? Do you
and
make it? Do you
I
make
guess
it? Do you make it one app and then add-ons?
yeah. I mean, there's the certainly with something like ESPN Plus, there's the licensing. So I know ESPN Plus, for example, had a lot of the English FA Cup games.
Yeah.
Now, clearly, those are licensed only to be seen outside of the UK. So even if you got ESPN on Disney Plus, it probably wouldn't be, in the available in the UK market. But we've seen the announcements towards the end of last year, I think it was, that they're partnering now with, like, the BBC and the next series of Doctor Who,
Yeah.
or the special anniversary edition thing that comes out in
Yeah.
November,
I
and then the
actually,
next series
just to
are
jump
gonna,
in there,
yeah,
I actually think that's the kind of thing that the new Bob Iger, that is going to take out of Disney Plus. I think they're
mm,
going to if they're going to cut back anywhere, it's probably not going to be on their own original content. It's going to be on the content that they're buying
mm,
to fill out the platform. I know if you just browse it in the UK, there's lots of trash programs, I would call it, that have been bought and put on the platform. Not saying Doctor Who falls into that category, but I think that's the kind of thing they're going to move away from. I don't think it necessarily makes sense for Disney to be buying other people's content to put on Disney Plus. I think it
yeah,
makes sense for Disney to be creating more of their own content.
yeah, and
Doctor Who
although
might be something different on the basis of it potentially takes people to the platform outside of the UK.
yeah, and I think that's largely where they're going with it is, outside of the UK, you probably haven't got a streaming service that, you can't get iPlayer, I don't think, outside the UK. Because it's based on, you're a fee paying license, TV license holder sort of thing. So yes, they got it on BBC America, but is that a one and done? I don't know if there is a BBC America streaming service or whatever. So to have something like that, yes, they're probably putting some money in and maybe some expertise, and who knows, maybe it also means that they can, the Doctor Who crew can use the volume.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think it's going to go to that extent. I think we'll find that Bob Iger tries to bring it back to the main themes of what Disney Plus was originally created for and sold on, and that's Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic, Disney's own animated stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a fifth one which I can't remember, but effectively the Fox Library. I can't remember what name it goes under. Is it Star?
Star, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to bring it back to that 5 tiles and try and focus everything around that 5 tiles and sell those 5 tiles. If you can corner the Marvel market, you can corner the animation market, you can corner Star Wars, get those people subscribed, that's your core audience. I don't know how much of a big enough reach you're getting by bringing in like a Doctor Who. You'll get some, but I can't see it being millions.
No, and with anything like that, I was reading something this week, where people were, sort of bemoaning the fact that, again, touching back on the people that haven't watched Book of Boba Fett, so don't know about the 2 episodes that were basically Mando season 2.5. Marvel is kind of getting to the state now where if you're an invested fan, you probably are watching all the series and all the movies, and you kind of know, oh look, so and so's cropped up in this property and that property, but there are also fans that don't do that. So when people are cropping up in other stories, you're like, well, who's that?
Yeah,
and I think you've got to be careful that some of these properties don't become so intertwined in themselves that you've got to try and hoover up absolutely every bit of content. I mean, that's one of the things at the moment. I know Mark said several times, about collecting and reading books and the comics and watching all the series and everything. There's so much coming out, especially books and comics, that unless that's all you do all day, there isn't enough hours in the day to watch it all and read it all.
I kind of think they're going to move away from this whole idea of buying in other people's content. There's a lot of HBO content, for example, in the UK. Pam and Tommy, for example, does that belong in Disney Plus? I don't think it does. I don't think that's getting any subscribers to the service. But I can see them actively going for someone like WWE that looks to be making a sale in the next few months. A $6-7 billion purchase gets them 10 hours of TV a week, plus a back catalogue going back decades in terms of content. It seems ideal as an extra tile. It's the 2 biggest cable shows in America, or at least top 10 cable shows out there, and it's good content for them in terms of their domestic market, worldwide market, and a way to get people subscribing. They've already got their own network. It's now with Peacock, brings 1.5 million subscribers. That's the kind of deal I can see them going for. But I do think there'll be cutbacks, and I do think it'll affect things like Willow. Will the budget be as easy as it was before? I don't think it's a case of, here, Lucasfilm, go make us TV content. I think everything's going to be justified now, and big budget TV is going to be difficult, I think, moving forward as I looked for profitability. Here's Mr. Newbold. We're going to have to throw this moment in. Well, Titanic's on there, Pam and Tommy involves people going down in a boat. See, these are the kind of people that, do you want that kind of people subscribed to Disney Plus?
Yeah. See, and I was just about to say, of course, if Bob wants to approach Fantha Tracks, we'll gladly put Good Morning Tatooine and all our podcasts on Disney Plus. We'll do video podcasts, and you can have a little Fantha TV channel on Disney Plus. But that might have just
that's
unfortunate turn of phrase here. That might have just blown that one out of the water.
what do you mean if Bob's watching? If Bob's watching.
Yeah.
Hope he's not. Let's hope he's not.
Yeah.
I think we should move swiftly on to the last news item of the week. Star Wars Fun Day 2023. They've started to announce their guests. The first guest announced. Return of the Jedi's Femi Taylor, who obviously played Ula in that film, celebrating the 40th anniversary. So it's a great guest. The event's on Sunday the 14th of May at Blackburn Rovers football ground, and tickets are selling very, very fast, so make sure you've got your ticket for that one. Femi, fantastic first guest announced for the show.
Absolutely. I met her at Echo Live, the last one or the one before. But yeah, great guest. Hope that's a bit of a nod towards them maybe doing a bit of a Jedi feature as much as they can, for the 40th anniversary. Hopefully it's something that Celebration will bring to the fore as well. But I was going to call it Burnley then.
I know. It's still
Blackburn.
Burnley. It'll always be called Burnley, but it's in Blackburn.
Yes.
Star Wars
Fun
I wonder, because Paul Dunn, one of the organisers, has done group Ewok signings before, whether there'll be a lot of Ewoks at the event, which I'll probably then be banned, having just said that you should kick an Ewok if you see one. Yeah. But that would be a great feature for Return of the Jedi, would be to try and get as many of the Ewoks together.
I'm going to say that would be a good shout, and I'm pretty sure, didn't they have Warwick booked for last year?
They did,
and then he cancelled because they were filming bits of Willow. So, so wouldn't at all surprise me, schedules allowing, if Warwick were to turn up, as one of the other guests, and a really, really, really good show. I absolutely love it, and I know the rest of the Fantha team really enjoy it. The meal on the Sunday, Dinner with the Stars, is always a hoot as well. Yeah. Sadly, I'm not in the country at that point, so I am unfortunately missing both that and Mr. Naylor's wedding. Terrible. And also another person from the Fantha Tracks team's special birthday, but I won't mention who it is or what the number is. Claire.
Yeah. She's 60 already. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Doesn't look it.
Doesn't look it. I think on that bombshell, to steal steal Clarkson's phrase, because he's not going to get to use it on TV anymore.
Nope.
We'll call that a night, I think, on that shocking bombshell.
Yeah.
Carl, thank you for joining me, for going through all the Star Wars news. Thanks to everyone for the comments. It's been fun going over this week's Star Wars news. We'll be back next Sunday and covering what happens in the galaxy far, far away in the coming week. And we'll see you all then. So, good night.
Good night.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at Fantha Tracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Fantha Tracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.